Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dan from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Now, this week I am going to be talking to you all about Smackdown. That's right, guys. It is Lay The SmackDan, and I am talking to you all about Friday Night SmackDown, the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. So, what happened on this week's SmackDown? Well, it saw a great main event between Cesaro and Jey Uso, which was interrupted by Seth Rollins. Pat McAfee joined the commentary team, a tag team title match which would not have been out of place on the WrestleMania card. And there's some more news on Apollo's friend from WrestleMania. So, with that being said, I'm going to get into the show in just a little bit. But firstly, there are 10 people that I do need to just mention before we go any further. And they are the people who sadly lost their jobs on Thursday, I think it was. So that's right. WWE have released the following talents. Now, I'm going to go through them one by one. So Samoa Joe, probably the most noteworthy, really. Obviously, Joe was doing commentary for WWE. He was the commentator on Raw alongside Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton. That's now completely changed. It's now Adnan Virk, Byron Saxton, and Corey Graves. Graves obviously moving over from SmackDown. But yeah, Samoa Joe, if reports are to be believed, then Joe apparently was interested in wrestling again, but WWE doctors just would not clear him at all. Obviously, they have to put the safety of their performers first, which is understandable. But, I think wherever he goes, Joe would be an asset, whether it is behind the commentary desk, giving that insightful analysis, or whether it be in the ring, if he can get fit and obviously healthy enough to wrestle again. So, although, yeah, that was obviously one of the standout ones. The other one was actually, and surprisingly, they were announced separately, but obviously not being a team anymore. And that was Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, or the Iconics, as they were known. If you've not seen it, go and check out the interview that myself and Scott did with them. I think it's back in 2019 now, back when they were the women's champions, the rightful women's champions, really. One of the teams probably that division was built around, essentially. And yeah, I think that was kind of shocking because they were doing some really good things with Billie Kay. Like, I did like the whole thing with her giving out her resume to people, and obviously it was a bit like they didn't know what to do with Peyton Royce. I mean, she did the promo on, I think it was either Raw Talk or Talking Smack. I think it was more Raw Talk, I think it was, or The Bump. It was one of those shows anyway. But yeah, she cut a really impassioned promo on Asuka, I remember. But yeah, just didn't seem to do anything with her. They're hugely underutilized. And yeah, obviously, got a message in the comments here. Billie Kay just on WrestleMania now no longer has a job. It's wild times. Indeed, it is. And if it's strange how they did a tag team title match at WrestleMania for the women's tag titles, and Billie Kay was in it, and she didn't necessarily have a tag team partner when all they had to do was just listen out for another Australian accent on the main roster and think, you know what? That would be an iconic tag team. Well, there we go. Who knows what this company are going to do sometimes. But yeah, so the other two females that got released were Mickie James, obviously legend Mickie James. I think pretty much like Samoa Joe, she wasn't cleared. She's obviously interested in wrestling. Obviously, she's not getting any younger. She's still got enough life left in her, though, to actually go out and wrestle. But, you know, if she's not cleared by WWE, then it can be one of those really tough scenarios some of the time where you want to wrestle, but then if they're not clearing you, then you know, obviously the whole thing with, you look at Edge and Daniel Bryan, you know, they weren't cleared initially. Bryan had to go and get independent doctors to clear him and then say to WWE, well, look, they are clearing me. I can wrestle. You know, and that's the kind of stuff, you know, Mickie James in this women's division, would she have maybe gone down to NXT? Could she have helped some of the ladies down there? I mean, you know, let me know your thoughts. You know, what do you see some of these released talent do next? Obviously, the other one, Chelsea Green, you know, was on SmackDown. She unfortunately got injured right before Survivor Series. She was due to be on the Survivor Series team. You know, that was another surprising one. It's like, you know, surely you could have re-debuted her, after WrestleMania. That would have been an opportune time. You know, Bianca Belair would have been looking for challengers. But yeah, and then obviously we have going into some of the other guys. You had Tucker, obviously hadn't been doing much on TV, was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal just this last Sunday. And yes, as I say, Tucker obviously had the good thing going with Otis as Heavy Machinery, and then they just randomly broke them up. And, you know, Otis has gone on to do good things. Tucker, we don't really know. Yeah, but just going back to what I was saying about the clearing people, what I don't get is why WWE doctors will clear certain people and not others, because AEW have cleared Christian after WWE wouldn't do. I don't know. It is always going to be one of those very, very strange things, isn't it? But yeah, I guess it's just a case of the protocols, really. So they have certain concussion protocols. We know that for certain, but you know, it's obviously not that easy, I don't think, to get cleared. Yeah, then we have obviously Wesley Blake from the Forgotten Sons. Obviously, Jackson Riker is on Raw. Wesley Blake was on Raw as well, along with Jackson Riker as part of Elias's little crew. Kalisto, obviously former US champion. Bo Dallas, obviously he's not wrestled in WWE since Crown Jewel 2019. So yeah, I know he did a couple of little test matches before WrestleMania. Apparently, he was helping out there. But, you know, the fact that they've not used him as well, it's just, yeah, it's one of those ridiculous things. Forgotten Sons, a forgotten tag team. Indeed, they were. Forgotten no more. Well, because they're probably just going to, yeah, be like, they didn't exist. But, yeah, and then the very last one that obviously came out was Mojo Rawley. So obviously former Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Yeah, I think, you know, for the 10 names that were released, a couple of them you could think, yeah, that's understandable. But obviously the standout ones for me, Samoa Joe, the Iconics, Chelsea Green and Mickie James. Really? I mean, they were probably like the biggest ones. You're thinking like, what the hell's going to happen with them from here kind of thing. You'd think everyone would want to snap them up. But obviously, they all have 90-day no-compete clauses. That has been confirmed. It is July the 14th is when they are free to compete for other promotions, which ironically is a Wednesday. So be interesting to obviously look out for the AEW Dynamite edition on that day to see if any of these guys do actually show up. Cutler and Blake could do a team on the Indies, maybe. Mojo is... because Gronk won't come back. Possibly. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. So, anyway, that's obviously, I hadn't previously spoken about these releases, hence me getting this out now. But if you do want to hear a bit more from the Rebellious Noise guys, if you go back over to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, Scott, Rob, and Lucas sat down pretty much not long after these releases happened, and they have filmed. They were live. They did some interaction with you guys, so thank you if you did join in the chats. Some of us, unfortunately, we weren't around. I was in bed, obviously getting old now, so yeah, I wasn't around for that, but that's obviously my thoughts on it. So obviously getting back now to SmackDown. Yeah, so getting back to SmackDown, let's have a quick look. What happened on SmackDown? So it was, to be fair, it was, with all due respect, it was largely forgettable. You think for a show straight after WrestleMania that there would be a lot more, there would have been a lot more to the show, but it just didn't really strike with me, this one. It was actually quite a heel heavy show as well. You know, no returns, no debuts. We didn't get any, really. I mean, the only debut you could say we got was Pat McAfee joining Michael Cole as the new commentator. And I actually quite liked him. He did really well, actually. You could tell it was actually he was a big fan of wrestling. So that's one thing that I did take from it. That Pat McAfee, obviously being a big wrestling fan, was sitting there. It seemed like he was genuinely enjoying the show and genuinely enjoying what he was doing. And I think sitting there alongside Michael Cole, obviously Cole's getting the stuff spouted in his ears what to say, but it's only going to benefit Pat McAfee in the long run working with Michael Cole. It's going to be interesting, though, to see whether he does remain behind that commentary desk or whether he's going to want to get up and go into the ring. It was one interesting comment that Michael Cole did make was he referred to Pat McAfee as former NXT star Pat McAfee. So is that potentially saying that his in-ring career is still going to go ahead? Who knows? Just having a quick, obviously being British, my quick sip of tea, and then that's how we get into the show good and proper. So the show did begin as most SmackDown shows do, with Roman Reigns in the ring. He actually reminded us of a spoiler that he had last week where he told Edge and Daniel Bryan that he would smash them, stack them, and pin them. 1, 2, 3. That was the exact thing that he did at WrestleMania. Let's have a look. Michael Cole is the most underrated commentator, the only person to be able to deal with Vince in his ear for like 25 years. I'm pretty sure he wears earplugs or he just puts him on mute most of the time, mate, to be honest. That's probably what I'd end up doing after a while if you had someone in your ear constantly telling you what to do and not allowing you really to do your job. So, yes, it's quite tough, really. So, the Roman Reigns thing at the start of the show, obviously, he was ready to leave. He was interrupted by Cesaro. Roman essentially just walked away, wanting no part of Cesaro. But backstage, Cesaro told Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville that he wants to face Roman Reigns. Now, interestingly, Adam Pearce here went to answer, but Sonya Deville, as she has done quite a bit, just cut across him, interrupted, basically saying that she would speak to Roman. And we later discovered through Paul Heyman later in the night, that Roman Reigns had said no, and that Cesaro would indeed face Jey Uso in the main event. Now, in that match itself, Cesaro and Jey Uso went back and forth. The match ended, I'm guessing, in a no contest. Seth Rollins interfered, attacking Cesaro, telling him that this is only over when I say so. So, yeah, for me, like, my thoughts on this, obviously, bit disappointed that Seth didn't go all out on the suit this week. It was quite mellow for him. Obviously, Boohoo didn't have a sale on, so he couldn't get a new suit there. But yeah, just check out some other suit places, mate. I'm sure you'll be able to find something. I mean, the lovely orange number that Bobby Lashley had on at WrestleMania Raw, just go and check those ones out, mate. They'll be good. So, also, could we be heading for a triple threat match at Backlash for the Women's Championship? Bayley seemingly has issued a challenge to Bianca Belair for the Women's title. Sasha Banks obviously was silent on the matter. When Kayla Braxton asked her backstage for her thoughts on it, she literally just walked away. Talking of Bianca Belair, the Street Profits had a nice little celebration for her. It's a really lovely moment, actually, in the ring. She mentioned making history in the ring and that her family are making history all the time. Thanks, Sasha Banks, for being part of it. This, I guess, is what riled Sasha up backstage later on. But then she told Montez Ford, you know, we only wear gold in this house. Well, obviously, you're the only one, love, that wears gold in that household, because Montez Ford could not get the job done when he and I forgot his name. Him and Angelo Dawkins could not dethrone Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Interesting thing, though, with this, Ziggler had a braid thing in his hair, very similar to what Bianca Belair has. So that was actually quite funny. I did quite like that little nuance of Ziggler playing on that. We now know as well the official name of Dabba-Kato, Babatunde, whatever you know him as from either previous in WWE or through his time on Raw Underground. He is now Commander Aziz. And the finishing move that he used on Big E at WrestleMania, so the thumb to the side of the neck, is now known as the Nigerian Nail. You may be forgiven for thinking that it's actually known as something else, because the late, great Umaga used to use the same finishing move as the Samoan Spike. Essentially, Apollo was saying that anybody that crosses his path will be met with a Nigerian Nail. So could we maybe see those two as a tag team coming up? Who knows? Give us your thoughts on what you think there. So I think, you know, overall this episode of SmackDown, as I say, I don't really want to rat on this episode, but I just don't feel as though it had the punch of a SmackDown episode. You know, I've said, to be fair, SmackDown has been the better WWE show for a long, long, long time. But for me, this was probably one of the weaker episodes of SmackDown. I just feel as though it's obviously that hangover from WrestleMania, and, you know, overall, I think it was okay. It did what it needed to do, but, you know, we didn't really hear anything from any people that lost at WrestleMania. So it was mainly focusing on the people that won, which that's fair enough. But then I'm just hoping next week we hear from the likes of Edge, Daniel Bryan, Big E, you know, those kind of names, and hopefully we see what they have to say next week. Obviously, we've got WrestleMania Backlash in 4 weeks' time, so we'll hopefully start getting some more direction from then. As I say, I can see there being a triple threat match for the women's title. I would not be opposed to seeing Cesaro, Roman Reigns for the title. Obviously, that would be something, I guess, that Cesaro would have earned. Could possibly see a rematch with Big E and Apollo. It's most likely going to go to something like a cage match or something, isn't it? So that Commander Aziz can't get involved. But yeah, just going to quickly throw over to the comments, see what we've got here. So we've got here former NXT star sort of feels like they're now saying he's on SmackDown full time. That does seem like it's the way they're going. I'm guessing that's in the Pat McAfee thing. It does seem like Pat McAfee is replacing Corey Graves full-time on commentary. Obviously, Corey Graves taking over the Samoa Joe role over on Raw. Cesaro should have won clean. They should be capitalizing 100%. 100%. Obviously, I guess they want to protect Jey Uso as the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. But obviously, Seth Rollins, he could have maybe just come out next week, cut a promo just saying that, you know, this is not over until I say it is, or attacking him next week, maybe just let them play out and have their match. Good to see Dirty Dogs retain. I think Street Profits win should be on pay-per-view at least. If only they had a pay-per-view not long ago that they could have done this match on. Strange, isn't it? Yeah, so let's have a look. What else have we got here? Apollo is badass right now. Real legit. Indeed he is. And especially with a big beast in his corner, you know, anyone that's like, I think they say 6'9", he's got that Nigerian nail in his left thumb that you can just put in the side of somebody's neck and put them down. And let's have a look. What else we got? Oh, we got Scott in the comments as well. Raw after Mania is dull these days. I was hoping SmackDown would pick up the slack a bit. bit of a shame. 100% agree with you there, mate. You know, it's as I say, it was really disappointing. You would hope to see like returns, at least, you know, somebody come out, you know, even if it's somebody come out and challenge Roman, they don't have to necessarily get the shot straight away. You know, we've got Money in the Bank coming up. You've got this, that, you know, you could even have people come out and say, look, I want to face you here. Cesaro, yeah, fair enough. Cesaro's been there. He's beaten Seth Rollins. If you're going to continue that feud, continue it. Plant the seeds for the Cesaro and Roman thing. Bring somebody else out. It does, you know, you've got a whole roster of NXT talent sitting there that are waiting to come up. But yeah, what else have we got? It's hard because they make so many people look weak at Mania. You can't really have them all show up back a few days later. That's true. And plus, it's only a 2-hour show. It's a 2-hour show. Obviously, they can't fit everybody on. But, you know, I guess when you're doing some of the matches, so they obviously did they had Natalya facing Shayna Baszler. That match didn't need to be on this show. You could have had something else in that place. You know, you didn't really need to have Rey Mysterio and Otis on there. That could have been something else. I think without shows, they don't care about the suspended surprises. Yeah, I think that's where it's hard. I mean, we're hearing obviously talk that they're looking at possibly SummerSlam now to bring fans back again. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled. I'm guessing around August time for more people coming back, I guess. So yeah, you know what? Tea always tastes good out of a good mug. Always tastes amazing out of a good mug. So I think that is pretty much everything for the SmackDown after WrestleMania. I mean, as I say, it was largely forgettable, but you know, don't forget, I'm going to be back on Tuesday. So the new schedule for this obviously is Tuesday at 5 p.m. I'm going to be live doing the Raw shows. On Wednesday, I am going to do the NXT reviews. I keep forgetting what day that's on because it keeps changing. It's changed. So yeah. So Tuesday night, I will be doing Raw. Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Both at 5 p.m. live. So Tuesday Raw, Wednesday NXT, Saturday morning slot is still going to be for SmackDown. So that is it. Yeah, you can follow us all. Don't forget at RN Pro Wrestling over on Twitter. You can follow me at Dan_RebNoise. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check back for more wrestling content. Take care, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Thanks a lot. See you later. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.